Okay, day 131, Hillary's Henchmen. The new person I'd like to dedicate this episode to is Representative Thomas Massey. I don't know if you've ever heard him speak. He's a relatively new member of Congress from Kentucky, but he's got an engineering background. And he's just a real, he seems to really get it as far as putting the pieces together. He's the only congressman I've ever heard use the term deep state. So he's a great guy, and I would like everybody just to send this to him for today's dedication, or this episode's dedication. In this episode, Representative Massey, what we do is we talk about various people that are involved with Hillary Clinton, her henchmen, as it were. Andrew McCabe here at FBI ordering wiretaps on the Jeff Sessions of the world and the Mike Flynn's of the world, and soon we'll see others like Steve Bannon. And then we talk about these 5 Awan brothers. Actually, there's 6 Awans. There's 4 Awan brothers and 2 wives. The wives have different names so that they can cover where they actually live by using different names, but there's 6 Awans in total. And we're following the burglaries on Capitol Hill of 20 different House of Representatives, as well as other leaks that have occurred. Yesterday I talked about the Awans actually had worked for 31 different folks on Capitol Hill. I think the number is greater than that. But the ones I can find that actually contributed money, this is a kind of a money contribution chart going across. And Greg Meeks here was, as I've mentioned in earlier episodes, is one of the earliest ones, and he was one of the last ones to finally fire Imran Awan yesterday, or maybe 2 days ago. So I'm going to call those people the Awan 31, and we're going to really drill down on their meeting with ambassadors and the spending of USAID money. Especially USAID money and meetings with ambassadors. There's going to be 20 burglaries as well, so we're going to also look in this group of 31 to see where the 20 burglaries were. I'm going to say that the burglaries were going to be the most recent people the Awans worked for, but that's just speculation until I prove that. A total of $5 million was funneled to the Awans, and they don't ever seem to be around. Nobody in these congressional offices ever seems to remember them coming over and putting in a cable or fixing a computer. I'm open to any one of these congressional staffs that wants to post pictures of them or post Facebook entries of social media. As I mentioned, these 20 congressional burglaries and break-ins are very sensitive because the Awans worked on the 3 most sensitive intelligence committees: House Select Committee of Intelligence, obviously Adam Schiff's the ranking member there, Homeland Security and Foreign Affairs, and they had an external server. So this is the Huma server situation, the Hillary server situation again. Since they worked on Capitol Hill from Imran started in 2003, there could have been many more than 650,000 emails on this server. As I mentioned before, Andre Carson, who sits on the House Select Intelligence Committee, also sits on the Emerging Threats Subcommittee. This is the most sensitive information as far as top secret information. And what we wanted to do was figure out when the Yemen raid was discussed, because the burglary happened shortly after the Yemen raid. So we've contacted out to Capitol Police several times and asked them, how's this investigation going along? We haven't heard anything back from Ava Maliki, the spokeswoman. So we also wanted to look into their visas as well. Let me go back one. We looked into how they got their visas. It looks like they're the go-betweens going to Saudi Arabia and Pakistan, and it looks like the go-between for Iran is a guy by the name of Ali Al-Attar that we've talked about earlier, a doctor who's kind of had a lot of fake billing, and his license was suspended, then revoked. But the new development yesterday in the Iran situation is we learned that Kissel Yak, think of Russian kissing a yak, and then a Chicago L running through, breaking up the kiss. So it's Kiss L Yak, Kissel Yak, made 22 visits to the White House between 2009 and 2016. He's going to be your go-between for the Iran deal, the $150 billion Iran nuclear deal. And of course, Claire McCaskill here on the Senate Arms Committee, which I've talked a lot about in the past, the Senate Arms Investment Club. It turns out that she said she'd never met with a Russian ambassador ever. Well, it turns out she's met with him twice, and it was August 6th, 2015. So I'm looking for pictures and notes from that meeting. But that's about the time that the deal was signed. She even says, I'm meeting with Russian ambassadors, re the Iran deal. So I don't know how much better the evidence can be. And I'm going to be sure that it's going to also be Valerie Jarrett at the State Department that's being helpful here. And then Tom Blinken is going to be important. And Al-Attar is going to be the funnel. Again, Rep Spear asked for this top secret clearance, so I've proven that they had top secret clearance, that this information could have been leaked. And just a few things on the 5 different folks. Abid came in second into the United States. Excuse me for refocusing there. He took over the car dealership. Now, I think this dealership, there was horrible records in the dealership. I think the dealership started around 2004. And it was more like a fund, a slush fund for funds. As diplomats move into the United States from the different countries, you need to get them a fast car, you need to get them a nice place to live, and so forth. And it's going to be very much like Singa Thomas did for the arrangements for different people coming in. I wouldn't be surprised if Singa Thomas knew the Awans fairly well because he was ambassador or he was involved in working with Pakistan for a goodly length of time. So anyway, these are going to be kind of like the playboys, the fun guys that'll set up the folks coming in. I'm sure that incoming diplomats get a car allowance, they get a housing allowance, but these were the guys that did the upgrade, the free upgrade on the car and the free upgrade on the housing, I believe. I don't believe there's enough money going through the dealership for it to be a kind of a drug funnel or anything like that. But I have to see more records to prove that. The other interesting thing that came out yesterday was that Omar, the guy who had his fingers in the 1,250 people's records on Capitol Hill, all the congressional staff, he also made 3 trips to the White House, okay? And he was also involved in the car dealership. This is what leads me to believe is you call up Omar and you say, well, hey, we got the, Prime Minister of Pakistan coming in. There's going to be 8 guys. What can we do to set them up? Now, that's a very kind interpretation of what the car dealership actually did. It obviously didn't sell cars because it went out of business. They didn't do that very well. On the 650,000 emails, there's Judge Boaz, I can't remember his name right now, is going to look at the 650,000 emails. There's 8 disks. And the FBI is only looking at the first disk, so they want access to the other 7 disks. Right now, if you've been following the series, you've seen that the FBI says that they need 5 years to go through the records. Well, at 500 pages a month, which is their current record, they're actually on a 103-year pace right now. So that may be something that Tom Fitton wants to mention to Judge Boaz on Tuesday. And also, how about the people that are involved still have not recused themselves here? They want Jeff Sessions recused himself very quickly when there was any kind of conflict that had been brought up, but McCabe's still in charge of the Huma server, Hillary server, and now the Awan server as well. So no grand juries, no subpoenas, immunity for all the co-conspirators, etc. So that, for some reason, somebody damaged my page here with Amjad Awan and the picture of Amjad Awan and his connections to BCCI. So again, I don't know why you would do that unless you're trying to draw attention to Amjad Awan and his dealings with setting up BCCI in Pakistan for the heroin business there, and then setting up the Iran-Contra drug funnel. Okay, that's it for this morning.